right, let's dive in. Today, we're cracking open a source that a listener sent over excerpts from the 48 Laws of Power. We're here to deep dive into this collection of principles. It draws from, well, strategy, history, human nature, or at least what the source claims is human nature.
Yeah, and our mission here, is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from these sources. Really focus on those core ideas about power, influence.
How to navigate things.
Exactly. And hopefully find some surprising facts, maybe some memorable examples along the way.
This isn't really a modern self-help book, though, is it? The source describes it as, like, distilling wisdom from thousands of years.
Right. Different cultures. It looks at figures like military strategists, statesmen.
Courtiers, seducers, even con artists are in there.
It's quite the mix. And the perspective it offers is that our world today, despite looking modern, functions a lot like an ancient court.
So understanding those subtle dynamics, the indirect stuff, is key.
That's what's presented, yeah. Essential for anyone trying to get ahead or maybe just, protect themselves.
That preface sets a rather, well, a stark tone. Suggests everyone wants power, but you have to hide it. Appear fair and decent.
Precisely. The book argues this requires huge subtlety, indirectness, mastering what it calls placing your iron hand inside a velvet glove.
So not open aggression.
No, it's more about maneuvering, getting others to serve your interests, maybe without them even realizing it.
Seducing them, charming them, or deceiving them.
Exactly, so they kind of bend to your will, maybe thinking it's their own idea or, it's good for them too.
Wow.
And a key principle right at the start is study everyone, but trust no one completely.
Study everyone, trust no one. That's a pretty cynical starting point. How does that actually work when it comes to conflict?
Well, one of the first laws the sources mention is Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument.
But arguing seems like the obvious way to persuade someone, doesn't it?
You'd think so, but the source claims any win through argument is temporary. You might convince their head.
But you create resentment.
Deep-seated resentment, yeah. It sticks around long after they forget the actual points. It's much more powerful to just show your point, demonstrate it through action, let them see the result.
Less talking, more doing.
Basically, they see it worked or it achieves the goal without you needing to verbally beat them down.
There's that example, the Roman engineer. That was quite striking.
Oh, yeah. He knew ships, argued like vehemently with a consul about the right mast size for a battering ram.
And he was right, technically.
He was. But he just wouldn't let it go. Couldn't stop arguing. The consul got tired of being challenged, feeling shown up.
And just had him executed.
Yep. His correct argument didn't save him. He didn't get the power dynamic. His actions, or lack of control over his words, led to his death.
Oof. Brutal lesson. Being right isn't always enough. So if arguing is out, what else is there for gaining advantage without, direct confrontation?
Law 8 offers another tactic. Make other people come to you.
Flip the script. Don't chase them, make them come to you.
Exactly. It puts you in control. When you lure someone or foist them onto your territory, towards your goal, they're reacting.
They're spending energy. Maybe leaving their own plans behind.
Right. You using bait, maybe? Setting the terms?
Is that like Talleyrand and Napoleon? With the escape from Elba?
That's presented as a classic case, yes. Napoleon's return looked bold, right? Escaping the British.
Yeah, seemed like his move.
But Talleyrand and the others at the Congress of Vienna, they essentially set a trap. They knew Napoleon was restless, susceptible to the lure of power.
So they baited him?
Subtly. Stirred up trouble on the island, hinted at chances. He took the bait, returned to France, but walked right into their hands. They were ready.
That's some serious calculation.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if you're clearly weaker? You don't have the leverage to bait someone or show power.
Right. That's where Law 22 comes in, according to the source. Use the surrender tactic.
Surrender. That sounds like losing, not power.
The book frames it differently. It argues that sometimes when you're totally outmatched, surrendering is the most powerful move.
How so?
Well, first, it denies your opponent that satisfying, crushing victory. But more importantly, it buys you time.
Time to recover.
Recover, plot. Wait for them to make mistakes. Maybe wait for their power to weaken.
The story of King Gujian of Yu that fits this perfectly.
A great illustration. Crushed by the state of Wu, his advisor said, "Don't fight for pride, surrender."
So he did.
He humbled himself, went to Wu, served their ruler for years, 3 years, enduring humiliation.
But secretly planning.
All the while,
Yeah.
patiently rebuilding, watching Wu's weaknesses. Then, when Wu was hit by drought, internal problems, Gujian struck back
With a revitalized army.
and wiped them out. His surrender was just the ultimate long game, revenge.
Wow. Okay, so from avoiding arguments to strategic surrender,
Yeah.
it's all about calculation timing. What about perception, shaping how people see you?
Ah, yes. The art of deception and appearance. The source goes deep here. Take Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim.
Selective honesty. How does being honest help deceive someone?
It's about creating a weak spot. One sincere, honest move, timed right. It can lower someone's defenses faster than anything.
Because people expect manipulation.
Exactly. They're wary of obvious flattery. But something that seems genuinely honest or generous, hard to resist, once that guard is down.
You've got an opening.
You do. Like Count Lustig, the con artist with Al Capone. Seems crazy, right? Conning Capone.
How did he even manage that?
Lustig apparently understood Capone's psychology. Capone dealt with crooks all day. The source suggests he actually kind of yearned for real honesty. So Lustig sets up this fake money scheme, then acts like he's getting cold feet, tells Capone he doesn't want his friend to lose money, offers to back out.
This act of apparent consideration.
Totally disarmed Capone. He wasn't used to it, lowered his guard completely.
Fascinating. What about Joseph Duveen, the art dealer? How does his story fit this selective generosity?
Duveen's help establishing the National Gallery of Art. It looked like a noble gesture, right? Public benefactor.
Yeah.
But it served multiple purposes. His rich clients could donate art, get prestige, maybe tax breaks, and suddenly they had empty wall space.
Ah, ready for new purchases from Duveen.
Precisely. Calculated generosity. Benefited him, benefited his clients, made everyone look good. Appearance was key.
Then there's Law 21, which is almost the opposite. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem less capable.
Yeah, this one plays on vanity. Nobody likes feeling dumber than the next person.
Right.
So if you make your target feel smarter, more sophisticated, they often drop their guard, they underestimate you, maybe reveal things they shouldn't.
Like Yellow Kid Wild did in Business Deals.
He'd adopt this sort of a less polished persona, make the businessmen feel they had the upper hand, dealing with someone easy to fool.
And Tafari, who became Haile Selassie, used this too, against his rival Balcha.
Yes. Tafari acted incredibly deferential, humble towards Balcha, like he was subservient, less worldly.
And Balcha bought it.
Balcha was this powerful warlord, expected that kind of behavior from someone lesser. His guard was totally down. By seeming less threatening, less smart, Tafari could outmaneuver him later.
Interesting.
And an interesting side note the source mentions, talking a lot, especially about trivial stuff, can actually make you seem less sly, more like a harmless fool. Helps the deception.
Law 26 is another one about appearance. Keep your hands clean. But it's not just about being innocent, is it?
No, it's about maintaining the appearance of being blameless. Seem virtuous, efficient, like mistakes or dirty work just don't touch you.
So you use others?
Use scapegoats, cat's paws as the book calls them. Let them do the unpleasant tasks or take the fall when things go wrong.
The story of Chow Chow and the grain supply. It's pretty grim.
His soldiers were grumbling, morale was low because food was running out. Cao Cao couldn't look weak or incompetent.
So he blamed the supply officer.
Fabricated a minor offense, executed him publicly, used the officer's head as the scapegoat, appeased the troops, showed decisive action.
While his own hands looked clean.
Exactly. His authority intact.
And Cleopatra. She used this to deal with her siblings.
The source suggests she wanted absolute power, but knew killing her own family would look bad. So she maneuvered things. Put her siblings in situations where others, or their own mistakes, would lead to their downfall.
Achieving her goal without the direct stain of fratricide.
Maintaining that crucial public image.
Okay, shifting from actions to pure visuals. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles.
Right. The source really emphasizes sight as the most powerful sense. What people see hits them hard, communicates directly.
Like Louis XIV and his whole Sun King persona. The court at Versailles.
Exactly. Those weren't just displays of luxury. They were powerful visual symbols, reinforcing his central place, his authority. He curated that image constantly.
Through grand events, symbols.
Meticulously. And what about Fra Filippo Lippi, the painter?
Oh yeah, he was enslaved.
By Moors, yes. He didn't argue, didn't plead. He just took some charcoal, drew an amazing portrait of his owner on a wall.
Spectacle.
A visual demonstration of his unique talent. So stunning, so unexpected. It won him his freedom. The visual trumped any words he could have used.
And Law 25, recreate yourself, ties this visual, this appearance, directly to identity, doesn't it?
It does. The source argues you shouldn't just accept the role society gives you. You consciously forge a new identity, one that gets attention, suits your goals.
Julius Caesar, early in his career.
As he dial, yeah. Responsible for games and public works, he spent fortunes on these incredible spectacles.
Even went into debt for it.
Deep debt.
Like,
but it wasn't just about entertainment. It was PR, building a popular base, crafting this image of generosity, influence.
setting the stage for later.
Crucial for his political rise, he was remaking himself from just another politician into, Caesar, man of the people.
So power isn't just what you do, it's how it looks.
Yeah.
How you look. What about understanding the people you're dealing with, their psychology?
Absolutely key. Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others.
How's that different from just manipulating them?
Well, the book suggests coercion, forcing people, just creates resistance, resentment. Seduction, though, that makes people want to go your way.
Wow.
By appealing to their emotions, their psychology, their hidden desires, their weaknesses, making your goals seem like it aligns with their interests.
Cyrus the Great used this with the Persians.
He wanted them to fight the Medes for freedom. First, he makes them do hard labor all day, clearing land, tough work.
Right.
Next day, a huge feast, every pleasure imaginable. Then he asks, which day did you prefer?
Obvious answer.
Of course! The feast day. Cyrus says, follow me, win your freedom from the Medes, and you can have days like this forever. He seduced them by appealing to their desire for ease, pleasure. Didn't just command them.
Clever.
Ah.
Emery Mantini with Louis XIV.
She wasn't typically beautiful, apparently, but super smart. She focused entirely on Louis, studied his moods, his interests, his psychology.
Became a good listener.
An artful listener. Tailored everything to his desires. Charmed him, influenced him deeply. The source stresses probing others, figuring out what makes them tick instead of just talking about yourself. That's key to seduction.
And Law 33 builds on that. Discover each man's thumbscrew.
Find their weak spot.
Their specific vulnerability.
Yeah. An insecurity, a secret desire, maybe an irrational fear. Something they're sensitive about. You find it by watching their gestures, listening to unguarded comments, seeing what gets them worked up or defensive.
Joseph Duveen, the art dealer again, seems like he was a master at this.
Incredibly skilled. With Arabella Huntington, he sensed her insecurity about her background, not coming from old money.
So he didn't just talk art history.
No, he subtly validated her taste, her character, made her feel worthy of great art, not just because she was rich, appealed to that deeper need for social validation.
And made her a loyal customer.
A very high-paying one. The source also mentions Lowell Montez's dramatic history, broken relationships, scandals. That kind of pattern could be seen as a thumbscrew, an instability to be aware of.
Then Law 13 gives a really blunt way to ask for help. Appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude.
It's pretty direct, yeah. The source basically says relying on past favors or pity is useless. Gratitude is flimsy.
So when you need something,
Show them what's in it for them, how helping you serves their advantage.
the Corinthian ambassador trying to get help from Athens,
Yeah.
he failed at this.
Miserably. He pleaded, reminded them of past times Corinth helped Athens, tried the guilt trip.
And the Athenians.
They were just annoyed. They were focused solely on their own power, their current strategy, saw no benefit in helping Corinth right then. So, no.
Though the source does add a twist, right?
Yeah.
That sometimes powerful people need to seem charitable.
Exactly. For them, helping isn't about kindness. It's about their image, feeling superior. So if you meet someone like that,
You appeal to their need to look generous.
it's still self-interest, just a different flavor of it.
Always about them. It's a very pragmatic view of people.
Okay, let's shift to strategy and timing. Law 29 seems vital. Plan all the way to the end. Yeah, the source argues most people just focus on the immediate goal. Get the thing done.
But the powerful ones.
They think steps ahead. Anticipate obstacles, consequences, twists, all the way to the finish line. Without seeing the end, you can't navigate properly. You won't know when to stop.
Balboa's the negative example here.
Right. Relentless explorer, found lots of gold, amazing feats.
But to focus on the immediate prize.
Exactly. Didn't anticipate the politics back home, the rivalries his success would stir up. Didn't plan for the enemies he was making.
Which led to his downfall.
Arrested and executed. Lack of foresight.
That connects to Law 35. Master the art of timing.
Timing is critical. The source says don't seem rushed. That signals lack of control. Patience is power. Wait for the perfect moment.
When conditions are right, opponents are weak.
Precisely. Strike then.
Fouché and Talleyrand again. Masters of political timing.
Both navigated incredibly chaotic times in France. How? By waiting, watching, acting decisively, but only when the moment was absolutely right.
Talleyrand baiting Napoleon.
Yeah.
The timing had to be perfect.
Key to the whole strategy.
But then, sometimes patience isn't the answer. Law 28. Enter action with boldness.
Right. Timidity is dangerous. It invites attack, audacity, even if it's reckless. People often admire it. It can stun opponents.
And bold mistakes are easier to fix.
Often, yeah. Easier to cover up or correct with more boldness compared to hesitant fumbles.
Young Ivan the Terrible. His move against Prince Shuisky is a chilling example.
He was just 13. But he'd endured years of mistreatment from these powerful families, the Shuiskys especially.
So he waited.
Waited, watched, made sure the guards were loyal, and then, bam, out of nowhere, arrests Prince Shuisky.
A sudden, bold move.
Terrified the other nobles, established his authority through sheer, unexpected audacity.
And then Law 48 seems to contradict having a clear plan. Assume formlessness.
Well, having a rigid, predictable plan makes you vulnerable, an easy target.
So be like water. Adaptable.
Fluid, unpredictable, change shape, change strategy based on the situation makes it impossible for enemies to figure you out, pin you down.
Mao Zedong's strategy against Chiang Kai-shek is the example here.
Chiang fought conventionally, fixed positions, capturing territory, predictable.
But Mao
Use this jigsaw pattern. Forces always moving, dispersing, regrouping, unpredictable ways. This formless approach confused Chiang's rigid forces, wore them down.
Then the Law 47 brings a crucial warning about success itself. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop.
So winning can actually be the most dangerous time. Absolutely. The source says that high you get from victory, it leads to overconfidence.
You repeat tactics that worked before?
Even if they're wrong for the new situation, or you let emotion drive you, push too far, make new enemies you didn't need.
The Japanese general Hideyoshi's advice.
After a victory, he said, tighten the strings of your helmet.
Meaning stay disciplined.
Cautious. Shift from attack mode to consolidation, diplomacy. Don't let the wind blind you.
Okay, let's look at controlling reactions again, but more provocatively. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect.
This is about copying your enemy, doing exactly what they do.
How does that work?
It confuses them. They see their own strategy turned against them, and it can make them furious because it feels like mockery. It's presented as a way to sort of teach them a lesson, give them a taste of their own medicine.
The tea master's sen no rikyu. That's a subtle version.
Very subtle. His host plays a practical joke, digs a hidden ditch, Rikyu sees it. Instead of getting mad,
It walks right into it.
deliberately, with good humor, mirrors the joke, diffuses it, shows he's not above it, turns it back on the host, but gently disarming.
Law 34 is about how you carry yourself. Be royal in your own fashion.
Basically, your demeanor dictates how people treat you. Act confident, dignified, self-possessed.
And people give you respect, regardless of title.
Often, yes, they respond to that projected confidence.
And Louis Philippe, the citizen king, failed at this.
He deliberately tried to act like a regular guy, bourgeois gentleman, to seem relatable.
But it backfired.
The source argues yes. Instead of endearing him to people, it lowered respect for the monarchy and for him. He didn't project that royal quality his role needed.
Law 36 offers another perception trick. Disdain things you cannot have.
Just ignore them, pretty much. Show no interest in things you want but can't get. Or refuse to get dragged into petty fights or insults.
How does that make you look superior?
It signals self-control, that you're above it, and it denies that thing or that person the power to provoke you.
The American pursuit of Pancho Villa fits here.
The source argues the more the U.S. forces chased him, the bigger his legend grew. He seemed more important.
If they just ignored him.
Disdained the chase. Maybe he would have faded faster. Same with Henry VIII ignoring Catherine of Aragon's claims after the annulment. His disdain stripped her arguments of power in his court.
Law 38 advises fitting in sometimes. Think as you like, but behave like others.
Yeah, it's pragmatic. Sometimes you just need to conform outwardly, blend in, avoid unnecessary trouble or attracting hostility.
The fable of Katir.
Right. Everyone drinks the water that makes them mad except him, but then he's the outsider, the crazy one among the mad majority. Sometimes blending in is survival.
Okay, there are a few more principles and warnings. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone.
Straightforward. Stay independent. Don't take sides in others' fights. That way you remain valuable to everyone, gives you leverage, you can play people against each other.
Law 41 warns about following a legend. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes.
It's tough. You'll always be compared, probably unfavorably. The source says better to forge your own path. Change course, find a new challenge, don't get lost in their shadow.
Alexander cutting the Gordian knot symbolizes this.
Instead of trying the impossible task of untying it, following the old way, he just cut it.
A decisive break.
Forging his own path, fulfilling the prophecy his own way. Symbolic.
Law 42 offers a way to break up opposition. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter.
Find the key person. Exactly. Often, resistance in a group comes down to one influential individual stirring things up. Neutralize that person, isolate them, discredit them, remove them.
And the group falls apart.
Often loses cohesion, scatters. The Athenians use ostracism for this, banishing powerful figures seen as a threat. Historical example.
Law 45 has advice on making changes. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once.
People hate sudden, drastic change, creatures of habit. So if you need big reforms,
Frame them gently.
as improvements, maybe even a return to older respected ways, make it palatable, reduce resistance.
Cosimo de' Medici returning to Florence.
He came back appearing modest, respectful, didn't impose sweeping new laws immediately, worked subtly, incrementally through existing systems,
Which let him consolidate power quietly.
without provoking the same backlash that got him exiled before.
Law 40 seems like a basic survival rule. Despise the free lunch.
Never trust free stuff. The source is deeply suspicious. Anything given for free is often a trick. Creates obligation, hides deception, or has a hidden cost. Be wary of generosity that seems too good.
Joseph Duveen learned this with Henry Ford.
Tried to soften Ford up with lavish free art books, reproductions, hoping Ford would feel obligated, impressed, and buy originals.
But Ford,
Was pragmatic. Saw the reproductions were free, so why pay for originals if copies were perfect? The free lunch strategy failed completely. Ford didn't bite.
and Law 2 gives that really harsh take on friendship. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies.
Brutal, yeah. Argues friends are dangerous, prone to envy, resentment. They know your weaknesses. Their betrayal hurts more and is maybe more likely.
Whereas a former enemy.
Might be more loyal. They have more to prove. Less history of jealousy.
The story of Michael III and Basilius.
Tragic example. Byzantine Emperor Michael III promotes his friend Basilius. Trusts him completely, despite warnings.
And Basilius.
Gets powerful, maybe resents Michael's ultimate authority, conspires against him, has him murdered. Michael's total trust in his friend was fatal.
Finally, the source touches on money psychology. Law 39, stir up waters to catch fish. Creating confusion to profit sometimes uses this.
Right. Money isn't just logical. It's tied to emotions, perceptions of value, creating uncertainty, excitement around value that allows for manipulation, profit.
The artisan in the teacup story.
Yeah, Fushimiya, the dealer, maybe accidentally, creates this aura of mystery around a plain teacup. The artisan becomes obsessed, convinced it's incredibly valuable.
Not a direct con, but shows perception matters.
How psychological projection, stirred up ideas of value, can have huge effects. And Louis XIV using gifts and money to control his nobles. That's using money as a psychological tool too, not just economic, controlling them through calculated generosity and dependence.
Wow. Okay, we've really only scratched the surface of the principles in these excerpts, haven't we? But it's definitely a very specific view of power. Pragmatic, often ruthless.
It is presented as a kind of guide, yeah.
Yeah.
Understanding and navigating these complex social worlds by using indirectness, calculation, timing, and really understanding human psychology.
Reading people, appealing to their drives, their weak spots.
That's the core of it.
It certainly gives you a lot to think about how influence works, historically and maybe even now.
And that's the central idea the book puts forward, right? That preface suggests our modern world underneath it all is still a kind of court, just maybe more subtle.
Different costume, same game.
Perhaps.
So here's something for you, the listener, to think about as you go through your day. If these ancient strategies for power and influence are still at play, as the source suggests, how might you see them in interactions around you? And maybe, just maybe, might you even spot yourself or others using them, consciously or perhaps unconsciously?
It definitely offers a different lens to look through.
This has been a deep dive into excerpts from the 48 Laws of Power.